Two, and we are on Civil Discourse Now. I'm Mark Small, January 31st, 2025, with Cassie Jackson. Cassie, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Good to see you again. Let's talk about airplanes.
Yeah, there was a crash. A helicopter uh, collided with an airliner in DC,
A
as
military
they were.
helicopter.
Yeah, they're going for Reagan National. That's where there's a lot of traffic around there. Members of Congress want that airport open because it's really convenient for them. So they catch planes and everything. But it's really, really, when they've got flights. But that's
It's a
really,
safety risk because for like terrorists would try to do something to that airport. There's a lot of things around, is what you're saying?
yeah, because also it's closed airspace in some ways. I mean, they shouldn't have people like flying over the Capitol because of
Right.
security concerns.
Got
And
it.
it's really a busy traffic area because it's on the East Coast, right there, a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Right.
And that's not safe. And I don't like flying. I took hypnosis for it like about 25 years ago, which helped. But still, it's really scary to get on an aircraft and realize that like people can run into each other. There was an airliner that crashed after having collided. One of my cats is here with a small aircraft south of Indianapolis in 1968 or 69, and
How does that work though? Like, how can they not? Can they not? I guess if it's dark at night, you can't see the plane as well.
also they should have transponders
Right. Right.
on
Obviously,
aircraft. They should have had everything right on those dots on the
they could
scope.
see where they are in proximity to other things flying around them. That's what I thought. So what do you have any, I mean, I don't know, just a basic question for me before we get into like all of the missteps that happened recently before it, but do you know anything about like what was the military? Was it like just a test mission? Like there were 3 soldiers on that military
Yeah,
helicopter. Where were they? What were they doing, or where were they going? Do you know that
I
yet,
don't
or
have
you
enough
don't?
information on that. I'm sure it's come out. They're probably discussing that in at length in the press. But
Okay.
the point is, they shouldn't. They should try not to have that much traffic up there, especially at night. And you're talking about Reagan National Airport, national. Um, that really isn't a place. It's not good anymore for aircraft. It's really incredibly busy,
Busy.
and
I
so
so yeah.
it's like I know it's not as convenient as flying into the other airport that's out there,
Washington,
whichever one it is.
Dulles, Washington. I don't know if that's in the right.
Dulles, that's it. Yeah. So, but when they have aircraft that should know where each other is or are, to run into each other like that is not something that is very good. But then to have somebody to make an inane statement such as Trump did, yeah, blaming it on DEI, that's incredibly stupid because that
And
had nothing to do with anything coming out in there. Only if you're just starting with from a base of
it makes
absolutely looking for you want to
yeah.
discriminate against people. Oh, there are blacks on there and there are women on there. Ah, that was the cause of the
That's what
crash.
they're saying. That's why it's
No,
DEI. Oh,
that's the
okay.
implication.
Okay.
DEI.
Well, we know the backstory. The backstory is that it has to do with Elon Musk, who had been very upset and threatening to the director, and I don't want to say the wrong person's name, but the guy in charge, I believe he was like 1 year into his 5 year term or whatever, who ended up quitting. And that was because Elon threw a fit after getting Starlink fined. He got fined by this, you know, official because of safety concerns. And so
Yeah.
he got mad about that and started harassing this guy, right? And he resigned. And here we are. I also want to note really quickly, one of the members of the Find Out posted a comment under my post on this, and I'm just going to give you the gist, but he's a professional in terms of the research and development of aircraft safety and stuff like that, and had done a lot of research. Actually, he said the stuff that he did research on was used as a framework for, you know, flight safety, etc. And he said there's no reason they should have been doing flight training at night. There's no reason this should happen. It was avoidable. There has to have been some breakdown at a human level. And I think Trump also, or someone, has just been refusing to hire more air traffic controllers as well.
Well, this goes back to the Reagan administration when the first big event in Reagan's administration, other than his getting shot, to assert his economic views on things, at least with most notable was the strike of air traffic controllers. Those people are under a lot of stress. They went on strike because they wanted more money, and so Reagan fired them. And that is not the way in which we're supposed to have relations with labor. And I'm sorry if people, well, they should be happy with what they make per hour. The owners of Starbucks make 57 grand an hour, I think. The CEO, I mean, I'm sorry. If you're talking about somebody who's got control over, all these things that are in charge for safety, you don't want them to be worried about their house payment. And certainly
Yeah,
not if
it's
you've
just
got
you
a
don't.
billionaire.
You exact That's exactly right. It's if it just the fact too that this, like, part of this was about, part of this involved the director not being there when this happened. Is just speaks to the narcissism of Elon again, because that he was pissed about a fine. Like, just pay the fine, bro. What is the big, So because Elon didn't want to pay a check because his shit wasn't safe enough, right? Now we have Americans that are dying, and I mean, listen, you can go back and forth when all the investigation's done and say, well, it didn't have to do with no, it doesn't matter. The facts remain the same. This guy, to oversee safety, was harassed out of his job, and now, first time in 16 years in the United States, there's been a mid-airplane crash. And
I don't think
everyone's
I don't think those two things are connected. There's not a causal link, but it
Yeah, but
demonstrates a
that's
lack,
what I mean. Those
yeah,
two facts are still fact. Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, I get on an aircraft and I'm always really very pensive about it. The thing that kind of helped, in part, not only hypnosis, but we were doing a show out at Metropolitan Airport on the northeast side of Indianapolis, Fishers, in 2013, 2014. Anyways, a friend of mine, Andrew Kirsch, we were in a hangar there talking about aircraft, and I mentioned that I am my fear of flying, and Andrew bought an Odyssey flight for me. And an Odyssey flight is you are riding with a pilot instructor with you, and you go up in a single engine propeller driven aircraft. This is Cessna 178, I think, and you fly around for about 45 minutes and land. Now, the instructor normally takes off, turns the controls over to you, and then takes controls back and lands. And when I went out there a few days later, then I had spoken to the instructor before I went out there, and so I got there and I said, "Are we going to do a walk around?" And he goes, "2 walk arounds, checking everything for safety on the plane." I said, "Are we going to have a checklist?" He goes, "We've got 2 checklists." And so we're talking about everything until we get in. And I'm like, and we're taxiing. He goes, normally what I do is I take off and then I take the controls or give the controls over to the person, fly around for about a half an hour. I take them back and land. I think you can, and we're squaring up because I think you can take off. I said, what? You can take off. Just get it, and I said, what if I really need, I say, take them. You do that. I got them. I'm watching. And so that was so weird because you're going down the runway.
Those little planes too, you're just like going a little bit and then all of a sudden you're up in the air and they
You want to
glide
fly.
so long.
Yeah, so it's going up and I said, take controls. I got it. And I was sitting there and he goes, are you okay? I said, that was weird. I really felt in control of the aircraft. And I said, but I was kind of freaking out about it. He goes, I know it can happen the first couple of times you take off. Let me know when you're ready to take controls back. I said, cool. I'm ready. I can do it now. Yeah. But it was like, and he said, of course, I will land.
Yeah.
But when you're up there, you understand how it's a different perspective when you're in control of the aircraft. Now, I
Mm,
know the stats indicate that it's much safer to
hmm.
fly than it is to travel someplace by car.
Sure.
But you've got to have these controllers. I mean, they're the people who really tell the traffic cops. And
Right.
what
I yeah, yeah, and just also like a competent pilot too, because which they are. I just question. It'll be interesting to see when it. My feeling is this was going to be on the fault of the military aircraft, but I just don't understand how neither of the pilots in either aircraft, like, wouldn't they even have signals on the airplane that would start going off if an aircraft got within too close of a
they're
range?
supposed to, but you're in a really high traffic area. It'd be going. I don't know if they'd be going off all the time. But here's one thing. And this is my bottom line, and we'll close out. So, if I've got a choice in having a professional, and I'm doing services on something, getting services from a professional, and I've got a choice between a male and a female, I'll take the female
Yeah.
because females had to clear so many hurdles and be so much better to get to that same spot. If I'm looking at a white person versus somebody from non-white, I mean, however you want to characterize that,
You
I'll go
like
with
you're
the
like I'm
non-white
going for the
person.
non-white. Like the harder you had to work to get here means that I'm going to trust that you. Yeah, I feel that.
Yes, because I mean, just all other things being the same. I mean, if you're looking
Right,
at
right, right,
driving
right,
histories
right.
and stuff like that,
Totally,
but
totally.
anyways,
It's all right. All competencies remaining the same. Yeah.
so
No, I mean I hear that. I think I've always said that my and I now I may say it a different way, but my pilot, my surgeon, and what's the other one I always said? Those three people in my life, like I want, but now maybe air traffic control too. I want to know that they are fully competent and very assured of themselves, right? Those are the two professions where if I have a very like competent and assured of themselves, surgeon and pilot, I'm good.
spend a lot to have the best doctor, lawyer, and accountant skimp on the Undertaker. Cassie is being cool.
Good to
Let's still
see you.
discourse now. Signing off.
Bye.